applying the displacement map we just made in Photoshop. The lightest parts are going to be raised surfaces, the darkest will sink further back. So we want this whole face, because what happens with this face is the eyebrows raise, the chin moves up and down, there's all sorts of things happening. So I want all that to be included in the displacement map. Okay, so what I do is I duplicate this file. I duplicate here. Let's take boy face front medium. I'm duplicating that and I'm calling it medium displacement. I'm going to call this 2. So now when I open this file, this will become my displacement map. The next thing I need to do is, because we set up a file that was specifically for blinking, I also want that. The thing about a displacement map is it needs to be the exact same size as the object the form you're applying it to, if you want it to be accurate. Okay, let's say for instance I've made a displacement map, which I've already done. So I have a displacement map painting that I've made right here, face displacement map. If I take that displacement map and I'm putting it in this composition, it's only for reference, it doesn't need to be seen. If I take this displacement map and I go down to displacement mapping and I choose, here I'm going to pick the layer that I want to use, and it's face displacement. Okay, so let's have a look. Doesn't look like it's done much. Oh, there's some kind of weird distortion happening here. So let's turn this way up. Okay, so what you're seeing is, you see where that nose is right now, that little peak sticking out? That is that bright point on the actual displacement drawing here, right there. But it's way higher. As you can see, it's not at his nose. It's in a completely wrong place. And that's because the displacement map is actually stretching to fit to the size of his shape. And that displacement map that I have painted here does not include the hair, doesn't include anything like that. So it's actually not fitting to the face properly. So let's delete that. That's why we're duplicating this layer. So I've duplicated the right here, displacement map. This is it. Boy face front medium displace 2. Now I need to get rid of all this color in here. I don't want this color. I need it black and white. The other thing I need to do is I need to replace this face here with my displacement face. But I still want to maintain all of my puppet tool stuff, all the deforms and all that special stuff going on. I don't want to lose that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a duplicate of this in my composition. So let's go reveal layer source and project. So I'm going to duplicate this, blink medium, and then I'm going to call this displace 2. So this file, I'll go in here, and now I'm going to replace this face with my displacement face. Okay? I'm going to just click on that, and if I alt drag onto this face, I will replace it. I don't need the nose. I don't need the masks. The mask I want to get rid of. I don't want holes there, otherwise there'll be infinitely sinking sockets. I don't need any of this eye information. I don't need this, and I don't need that. All I need is this face. Okay, so now we have the displacement face. So the next thing I need to do is I need to stop using this one, which is boy head front blink, and I need to use my displacement face. So I'm going to go up here, boy head front blink displacement 2. All I'm going to do is alt click and drag that onto here. And there we go. I'm going to delete the eyeballs. I don't need them. Now I might want some distortion to come from the eyebrows, but what I need to do if I want to do that is I need to first of all turn them black and white, otherwise you'll get all sorts of weird bumps and aggressive things that you don't necessarily want. And I encourage you to experiment with it. The next thing I'm going to do is bring my blacks up, because I don't want my blacks to be holes. I don't want, in fact, my eyebrows are coming off of the face, so I don't want my blacks to be any darker than the surface of the face. If they're dark, they'll be like cracks or holes in his face. I need them to come off his face. So bring the lights up, and also the darks up, and bring the lights down a little bit, because I don't want them popping off too much. Okay, that should be good. Those darks might need to be a little bit lighter. There we go. Doesn't matter if they're a bit flat. Okay, cool. I may not even use these. And I'm also going to turn their opacity down a bit. Great. Next is the hair. I'm going to copy this tint because I like it. It really flattened it out. So let's go to the hair and paste that. Great. Look at this skin. See how the skin is actually lighter than this hair? We don't want that because if this hair will actually look like it's sinking into the head. Remember, dark is pushed back, light comes forward. So what I need to do is I need to brighten this even more. I want the hair to be lighter or as light as the face. I don't ever want the hair to sit behind the head. Okay, and then my next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to blur this out. Otherwise I'll get some really intense bumps happening. Again, just experiment with this, play with it, play with different images to see how it works. I've done 3D for a long time now, and I have a pretty good sense of how this stuff works, so I'm pretty comfortable. Okay, there we go. I just duplicated the hair layer just to make it stronger, so there's a firmer edge and there's not so many fades. Okay, so that's my displacement head. I'm going to close this off. So let's now go into the project, and now I have this displacement face here. We want this one, or no, not this one. We want that one. This one. This is the one we made, medium 2. Oh, and I accidentally left the lips in. Now we could leave those lips. Right now they're a little bit too... There's too much color in them for starters. So let's get rid of that color. Secondly, they're too dark. So we don't want. I don't want those lips sinking into the face. So actually, let's. Oh, and right now it's in multiply mode. So let's put the mode to normal. Okay, because otherwise we'll never get it right. Bring those darks down. So I do want the mouth to have a little crack there. I think that's great. But let's bring those whites down because I really don't want the lips to pop too much off the face. But I really also don't want them to sink into the face. And then the next thing I'll probably do is let's just blur them off a little bit. Blur, Gaussian blur, and maybe I'll just do 10. I bet you could probably use fast blur would probably be a better blur to use since it's less processor heavy. Let's get rid of this. There we go. Okay, maybe a little higher, 15. Okay, cool. So now we have a displacement map, and this displacement map will respond to all of the sliders that we've made already previously. So it's actually going to distort the skin along with your animation. Okay, so the next step is I'm going to hide this one as well because you're not supposed to see that. Okay, so the next thing is take this displacement map here. Okay, and we're going to let's just stick it in there. Put it in the scene. Okay. So now the next step is I don't need it visible, so turn it off. Now let's go back into Freeform Pro, and what I'm going to do is pick my displacement layer. Okay, so let's try this out. I've selected the displacement map, and there we go. So as you can see, as I'm pushing that out, I'm getting this really nice displacement happening. Now the face gets bigger. I don't want the face to get bigger, so what I can do is I can just adjust it back so the size of the face doesn't change so much, and that way I can keep the face more aligned with what I want. And there you go. You now have a 3D face. Let's look at the cheeks going up and down. Let's see if that all works. So we have our nice distortions on the face working just fine. The eyebrows, let's see the eyebrows going up and down. Perfect. Look at the eyebrows are moving nicely. The nose is moving ever so slightly with those eyebrows. So now we have a pretty decent face. If you want to clean up this stuff that's happening around the edges here, which you probably will, all you have to do is once you've done all your animation, I would recommend this. I wouldn't do it before, but I would go in tessellation. I would bring this down to like 25. You don't need it to be that high, and then just put on the check mark. That will smooth out those edges for you. In the next video, we'll look at incorporating the Freeform Pro 3D object with other layers in After Effects and making them seamlessly work together.